This is a quick guide for AAU Racing on how to make a paper template to help you when you're hand notching tubes. We are going to start by isolating the tube using the delete key body function. If ever you are missing a command, you can always, in this window, click command, search for it, delete, and then you can drag it in if it's a feature you're going to use. Click keep body, and when it's done thinking, we'll have only one tube remaining. There we go, and now we're going to create a small slit into the tube in order to be able to unfold it. We can use the plane from the weldment itself, but in my experience, Solidworks will tend to forget where this plane is, so it's easier to make a new using reference geometry. Insert a plane, click the line through the tube, click the endpoint, and you'll automatically have the plane you need. Now we are going to create a small sketch on this plane. So start a sketch with the plane selected, Control 8 to go normal to the plane, create a simple slice from the tubing, and we want to select a small angle here. So for instance, it could be 0.5 degrees. From this, we're going to make an extruded cut through everything. And now we have our slit. For the next step, we're going into the sheet metal tab. If you don't have this tab, you can right click on any other tab, hover over tabs, and just select sheet metal. We can't simply convert this into sheet metal or flatten it now. Instead, we have to insert a bend. So what we want to do is select an edge on the inside of the tube. And the important part under this setting is setting the K factor to 1, meaning that we don't lose any material. With this done, we now have a sheet metal part, and we can simply flatten it. To make it easier for ourselves, we're going to select the surface and click Control 8 to get a view that's normal to the surface. The next step is simply to create a drawing from this. Select A4 if that's what you're going to print on. And insert the part now. Over here, you can select current model view, so we get the view that's normal to. Flat pattern can also be used, but in some cases it will be slower to use this option. For scale, use sheet scale and make sure down here that sheet scale is set to 1:1, so you get the full size. Insert it, and then you can click the hide all types to remove all the clutter from the other lines. Now we have the part we need. It's good practice to insert a dimension that you can measure once you have printed it out to check that the scaling is done correctly. And now the only thing remaining is to save it as PDF or print directly. If you're printing from a PDF, make sure to set it to 100% scaling, as otherwise it might try to scale it down a bit in order to accommodate the printer's margins. And now you just print this out, cut the piece out and tape it around the end of the tube. If you're working with a longer tube, it might be a good idea to make a line across in both ends, and you can then remove the middle part, measure the distance between the two lines, and you only have to print out the two ends and tape them around, and then you can align them based on these crossing lines.